When you're working from home, there are so many options. There seems like there's so many different types of work to be done. There's your work, and then there's your homework, and then there's actual homework that your kids are doing. And it can seem kind of overwhelming to know what to do. In reality, in the Getting Things Done model, we look at the fact that there's really only three types, broadly speaking, of work you can do at any point in time. Three categories, if you like, of work, personally or professionally. We call this the threefold nature of work, and it can really help to understand this model so that you can focus appropriately and feel good about your choices. Now, to keep you in suspense, the three types of work we consider in the threefold nature of work model in GTD are defining your work, the work of figuring out what your work even is and getting that appropriately clarified and organized in some way so that you can do it. The second type is working on defined work, working on the work that you've already thought through in some way or that it has already been represented in a system. So those could be from a list, or it could be an item on a calendar that you're doing at a specific time. And then there's that third category, which is work as it shows up, work that has not been defined. It could be interruptions. It could be you self-interrupting. It could be diving into email, hoping that next thing is the right thing to work on for 2 or 3 hours, ignoring whatever else is coming in. And it may be totally appropriate and it may not. The key with all of this is being aware of where you are at any given point in time and where you've been spending your energy and attention overall. A very simple exercise that you can do, that we often do in coaching and in seminars, is to just take an inventory. Give yourself a rating, give yourself a percentage mark for each of these three types of work. How much time do you actually spend defining your work? In GTD terms, we think about clarifying and organizing, but also other things, anything from sort of project management methodologies or whatever it is that you use to define what your work even is. How much time are you working on defined work? Are you working from some kind of structure? And how often are you working on work just as it shows up? Then draw a line into that and look at what the ideal would be based on what you know about your job and your life circumstances, what the ideal proportions would be. Almost always people find some kind of delta. And I'll tell you the most common one is that people find they're not investing enough in defining their work. And the reality is, that you need to have a comprehensive inventory of all the things that are moving in your life, all the active commitments, to be able to even know, is this next interruption actually the most important thing to focus on or not? And if it is, people often say, I needed to drop everything. And I say to them, well, actually, you don't know what you were dropping if you don't have a comprehensive inventory of what all your options are. And if you do, by contrast, you can focus your attention on some new interruption or thing, very effectively handle that, give it your full attention, and then come right back to where you were because you have a bookmark. Because you have an exactly where you left off has been represented effectively in your system. So, becoming aware of where you're at moment to moment, becoming aware of where your improvement opportunities are, becoming aware that this model even exists, that there's really only three types of work that you can be doing moment to moment, is going to give you a much better opportunity, a much greater chance that you can feel good about the choices you're making moment to moment. In an environment that can be actually potentially very distracting.